listen-only mode.
Welcome, everyone. It's my pleasure today to welcome you to today's Lunch and Learn webinar presented by the Canadian Water Resources Association Alberta branch. I'm Jody Rutledge, the Assistant Executive Director here at CWRA, and will moderate today's session. Before we get started, I'd like to point out a few things to make sure the webinar runs smoothly. This presentation will run for approximately 30 minutes, and at any time, please type your comments or questions you may have in the questions panel in the GoToWebinar control panel. I've typed a short welcome message to get you started, along with 3 links you may wish to use for follow-up. All of your questions will be held and asked on your behalf at the end of the presentation. A PDF file of today's slides will be distributed in a follow-up email in the coming days. And as always, we appreciate your feedback. To receive further notice for future events, please go to CWRA.org and sign up for our newsletter, or better yet, become a member to get discounted rates for conferences, workshops, and events like this one. Our presenter today is Shelley Morris, Manager of Groundwater, Water Supply, and Soil Contamination in the Data Management and Stewardship Informatics branch at Alberta Environment and Parks in Edmonton. Ms. Morris has been with Alberta Environment and Parks for just over 7 years, working with various groups, including the Air and Water Monitoring sections of AEP, the Environmental Monitoring Agency, AMERA, and most currently leading the data management team that brings in water supply, groundwater, and hazardous waste data to the department. Prior to that, she worked with a major environmental laboratory in Edmonton, and while there, she provided analytical expertise in areas of industrial hygiene, organic and inorganic analysis, quality assurance, quality control, food and natural health product testing. She holds a bachelor's degree in environmental management and a diploma in chemical technology. In today's presentation, Ms. Morris will discuss on how the near real water supply data is acquired and how this raw data is validated and turned into official data sets. She will show how data is retrieved from stations through different telemetry streams. And finally, she will discuss the role of the Alberta Environment and Parks Data Management Team and how this data is shared with the public on the Alberta River Basins webpage and phone app. With this, I'd like to welcome Shelley Morris and hand the presentation over to her at this time.
Well, welcome everyone. In today's Lunch and Learn session, I'd like to give you an overview on how water quality data gets from the field monitoring stations to be available on our River Basins website. I'll take you through how it is acquired and what it takes to get the data and information from the source. I'll touch on what is monitored and measured, why we measure it, and who we support by providing the data. And lastly, I'll show you some resources and where to find the data, both near real time and historical. Here's a map that shows the distribution of the different types of water monitoring around the province. Most of these locations have telemetry at the station, so we can observe the data in near real time. The collection of surface water quantity data is critical to understanding the availability, variability, and distribution of our water resources. Water Survey of Canada, through a collective approach, leads the National Hydrometric Monitoring Program that monitors, collects, and disseminates water resource data and information in Canada. Under a federal provincial hydrometric agreement, there are approximately 450 hydrometric stations monitored throughout Alberta. This is a cost-share partnership agreement where the ownership and operation of these stations is either federal, shared, or Alberta. Water Survey of Canada is the primary operator of the majority of the stations, with about 45 stations operated by Alberta Environment and Parks. The stations primarily monitor water level, flow, and discharge. Some of the stations also monitor water quality parameters such as water temperature, dissolved oxygen, conductivity, and pH. Approximately 500 stations measure MET parameters such as precipitation, air temperature, humidity, wind speed direction, snow, and rainfall. They are operated by either Alberta Environment and Parks, Alberta Agriculture and Forestry, or the Met Service of Canada. Alberta Environment and Park operates near real-time snow pillow sites. There are 17 mountain sites and 4 plains area sites. In addition to the near real-time snow pillow sites, manual snow surveys are conducted at approximately 133 sites. Forecasters use the near real-time data along with these manual surveys to understand how much snowpack there is at any given time and is an indicator of how much water there would be should the snow melt. The data is closely monitored during spring runoff conditions. In extreme circumstances, rapid snow melt along with intense rainfall can be a factor in predicting flooding. There are 5 near real-time stations that use random transmissions to inform the ice monitoring group when breakup may be occurring. This information provides data that may help in predicting conditions that are favorable to the formation of ice jams. During spring breakup, forecasters monitor where the ice front is located and will issue advisories if needed. Water quantity information is also collected from a network of lakes throughout the province. These monitoring locations do not have telemetry, therefore staff must routinely visit each site to record the measurements or manually download the data from the loggers at the site. All data is then forwarded to the data management team for processing and storage in the database. Monitoring at some of these locations has been carried out for over 30 years, thus providing some great long-term data to monitor fluctuations over time. The water quality monitoring network across the province consists of approximately 400 sites each year. This program is mainly project-based, studying different areas around the province. There is also a long-term river network, which consists of approximately 28 monitoring sites. A few sites transmit data near real time. More and more sites are being deployed with telemetry and multi-parameter data sondes. These sites have continuous loggers recording data quality parameters such as turbidity, conductivity, dissolved rocks, and temperature. We have a few sites where this data is available in near real time and is displayed on our River Basins page. Our Groundwater Observation Network is another water data set that is captured by our group, and it consists of groundwater wells that have GOES telemetry transmitting near real time data. Wells that do not have telemetry must be frequently visited to download logger data manually or take manual observations. The data management team must work together with several areas to make sure the right data and information from the sources is using the right technologies, is put in the right format to allow for the right data to be available for all users. They support several areas with the data and must ensure that the data is available in a timely manner so that areas such as river engineering or water operations have the data they need to make operational decisions, some of which may be critical in ensuring public safety or prevent property damages, for example, in a flooding situation. Data management is in the middle of the process. The first step of the process is where the measurement points are created. The raw data is transmitted from the field equipment or stored in an electronic data logger. Data management acquires the data, checks and decodes the data in a format that is readable to be stored in the WSGI database. The data is now stored in WSGI in a format that is useful to the data users need. The water supply data management team's main responsibilities are to manage the real-time data collection system, to provide data support for field staff, to provide 24/7 support during major events, and to provide access to water data. The main reason the group exists today is primarily due to the flood forecasting branch, who was responsible for funding of the NRT telemetry stations beginning back in the late 70s. However, our mandate and client list has expanded greatly over the years and continues to grow. In addition to supporting river forecasting, some of our other areas that data management supports are the dam operators, water management. They also support irrigation operations, agriculture drought net program. They also support in providing data to make decisions and support the interprovincial and international apportionment agreements, and they share with many stakeholders and field data requests from external clients and agencies. The management of the water data means continuous interaction with the field. Our team works closely with the field staff to ensure telemetry output is working correctly, and the data collection platform is set up and configured so that the data being received has the correct time series, parameters, coding, etc. to bring in the data. The acquisition of data using the OPENDCS system is the primary role of the data management staff. They must ensure the quality and completeness of the data, as well as maintaining the current information in the WSKI application so the end users can make sense of the data. The acquisition of the data requires several activities and checks prior to storage in the WSKI database and dissemination of the data. During the data acquisition process, the system is set up to send alerts to staff so they may be proactive in troubleshooting issues and to keep the data flowing and prevent gaps in the near real-time data. This is especially important in event situations when the data is needed to make critical decisions. In critical events, data management staff must be on standby to provide around-the-clock support to ensure data currency and data communications are fully operational. When troubleshooting issues with station data flow, a system referred to as a problems log is used to document and log the issue. This database is accessible to all operators and partners and used as a communication and tracking tool. This way, all users can see the status of the issue at any given time. Data acquisition of real-time data is received through several communication protocols. Data collection platforms using satellite telemetry make up a significant portion of the data that is acquired by our data management team. In addition to the near real-time data sources shown here, we also acquire data from manual monitoring and lake level data, from snow course data. We ingest historical data from Water Survey Canada and Met Service Canada as well. In the next few slides, I'll demonstrate the complexity of the route that a data message takes to get from the field to the database through satellite transmission. To begin, the data point starts as a pseudo binary message at the monitoring station. The message is transmitted to the Geostationary Operational Environmental Satellite, or GOES. The GOES system is operated and controlled by the National Environmental Satellite Data and Information Service of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. NOAA maintains both a GOES East and GOES West satellites. Each supports a data relay for the data collection systems of 266 different DCS channels. Odd number channels are assigned to GOES East and even to GOES West. The data is received, processed, and stored at Wallops Island. Processed data is stored and made available via different formats for retrieved by other users as well. Then the message containing the data is retransmitted to continue its route to the retrieval destination. This message is quickly passed from Wallops Island to a second uplink dish where the message is rebroadcast again to the satellite. Once it reaches the satellite, the DOMSAT and the GOES, the message is then bounced back to Earth for capture by systems capable of receiving the data. The data is captured by the DOMSAT and LRIT receivers in Edmonton. The Domestic Communication Satellite, or DOMSAT, is a single high-speed channel that NOAA rebroadcasts for consumption of GOES messages by users with a DOMSAT receiver. While this service is still being broadcast, it is scheduled to be decommissioned in 2016. The LRIT dish receives satellite information from the GOES DCS as well via a low-rate transmission rebroadcast service by NOAA. The LRIT satellite was installed in Edmonton in January 2015 as a result of the pending DOMSAT decommissioning and is now our primary source of GOES messages, of receiving GOES messages. We are still able to use the DOMSAT as our secondary data source retrieval system. These messages are then received on our local readout groundout station server, which can receive data via several satellite links and the internet. This is quickly transferred to the OpenDCS data collection system that data management uses to process the message. The LRGS provides the network service to distribute the data to a client application called OpenDCS, which will then decode and transfer the pseudo-binary message to a readable format ready to be ingested into the WSKI database and presented as near real-time water data for anyone to use. So acquiring data from the field monitoring station in near real time is not a straightforward process. Data is transmitted through several hops before reaching the data collection system in Edmonton. As a backup, should messages fail via our satellite receiver, a redundancy is built into the system by the internet. If necessary, we will use the internet feed from Wallop's Command and Data Acquisition Station in Virginia and the Emergency Data Distribution Network in Sioux Falls, South Carolina to retrieve our data. Data is brought into the department through other types of communication as well. Non-GOES messages are also received through a dial-up modem, secure FTP, web scraping connection, and other SQL databases. Since the implementation of the OpenDCS system, we now have the capacity to acquire all GOES and most non-GOES messages into one data acquisition system. One exception being stations currently needing Campbell Scientific Logger software to communicate to the field data collection platforms. Additional work is required to integrate this LoggerNet API into the LRGS and the OpenDCS system. This represents some of the different message formats that we receive and are decoded by the OpenDCS into the readable format for users. The OpenDCS system used to decode these messages is a collection of open source tools for collecting hydromet data. It is the client-side graphical interface interacting with the local readout ground station. The implementation of this new application has streamlined some of the functions that data management previously did using our old system that was comprised of separate systems. The local readout ground station status is a background service process collecting raw data via satellite links and over the network from our system. The status monitor shows in real time the status and the statistics of messages received through all our active systems. We will monitor the status routinely to ensure our systems are receiving data. The DCP message browser is a tool that connects to any LRGS server to retrieve raw DCP messages based on a variety of search criteria. It displays the raw and decoded messages on the screen to view and or save to files. You can search and view different decodes and through this message browser. The decode editor is a device conversion and delivery system. This is a module of OpenDCS. This is an example of a decode script, and each type of platform will have a custom script written to decode the message coming from the field into a readable format. The colors show how specific characters in the message are decoded to correspond to the data that makes sense to users. The decode database editor is where a script can be modified to only convert the data that you're interested in capturing. Data management frequently uses this tool to build scripts for new stations or troubleshoot existing communications. WSKI is the application database storing and disseminating the data that we bring in. WSKI stands for Water Information System Kisters, Inc. Before WSKI, we had two databases, NewLeaf and Time Studio were in use. NewLeaf was for the near real-time database, and Time Studio was for storing historical data and operating flow models. Since WSKI had purchased Time Studio, it made sense to implement the application as the vendor could support transferring the Time Studio database into WSKI. Kisters would also provide modeling capabilities in WSKI and transfer the current Time Studio models into the WSKI system as well. Consultants started working on the WSKI project in December 2007, and it has been operational since January 2012. It has expanded with more and more users, and it continues to grow. Data management has played a key role in the design and upgrading and repair of WSKI and will continue to be a major contributor to its application. Data management is not only responsible for the ingestion of the near real-time data, but also the historical data from our partners. They are responsible for the upkeep of the rating tables to ensure correct flows are being used and the addition of new stations with proper time series. WSKI is an enterprise system that provides data for many users. It has post-processing functions such as exporting data, graphing, and modeling for users depending on need and analysis of the data. User permissions are controlled control who can access and edit the data. WSKI stores data in raw and processed formats of different time series. These time series have unique prefixes and naming to identify the layer type, the type of data in each layer. The various time series have prefixes to them to identify the layer. You can see here that the various time series layers are easily visible to the user in the WSKI Explorer. It also contains other metadata information around such things as station type, station documentation, and site visits. Real-time data stored in WSKI is made readily available on the Alberta River Basins website. It is an interactive site that can filter and display selected layers. It can be graphically displayed. It can graphically display the data or can download it into a format such as CSV or JSON. Data requests for specific time series or stations are typically made through the data management team through the data management shared email published on our website. The team can also help with questions around data or redirect you to the correct person for the answer. These are some of the typical data requests that data management team deals with. The data management team typically distributes data from stations owned and operated by Alberta Environment and Parks. If third-party data is requested, then we'll redirect them to the original data source for the final QC data. But typically, if a data request has not gone through the entire QA/QC process, then the data is released as preliminary and is subject to revision. To find some of this data, here's a list of resources and contacts for the various data sets. Alberta River Basins has all the near real-time data requests as well as some water quality data on it. And then there's the surface water quantity data request email that you can request bigger data sets or specific data sets for specific stations. And also there's other services listed there as well. Thank you. And maybe I can, if you'd like, I'd like to take you to the River Basins webpage and give you a little demo around that webpage and show you a little bit where you can find that data in the app. So within in the webpage, in the River Apps webpage, there are filters here of different layers that you can click on to display your data. If you have the layers at the side that you can highlight here and click on the different layers of data that you'd like to view. Also, there are the parameters that show up for each layer. So with the real-time data and water level data, it displays as you zoom in. It will drill down to specific stations. If you click on a station, it'll pop up with these icons. It'll show you the bubble. The green dot will say we have some current data. The station's operational. It'll pop up in the bubble. It'll pop up the latest data point. You can take a look at the data in tabular form, and you can also download that data in several formats. You can download the entire period of data or the most recent 5 days of data as well. You can also take a look at the data, a weekly graph of the data as well as a quick view graph, and you can print that as well. And it gives a little legend on explaining the graph as well. You can take a look at that. It also has an icon displays the yearly graph of all the data, the period of record there that is associated with the station. You can also favorite the station. You can click on the stations that pop up. There's precipitation or where the other stations are. You can also show those stations, and if you can click on, there's a different tab here, the water management data. You can click on that tab. It'll show on this one. The website also has the capability of showing, changing the color of the station. That gives you a quick visual. For example, if the station reaches a recorded flow that's below a set threshold, it'll automatically turn red. And it also has the same tabular data that you can download, graphical data as well. So all that data is available. So then you can take a look at that data, advisories based on that data. Advisories may be posted that will give a low flow advisory. It can highlight which water basins. This is crucial information for our water management and licensing operations. And also, there also is a water quality tab too as well. And if you just look at the water quality stations, we have a few on there that show some parameters, and these are the dataton parameters that I was referring to earlier. And this one will give you, it shows some of the parameters that are in the bubble, the most recent parameter. Again, it shows the tabular data. And here it shows all the data that you can download, dissolved oxygen, pH, conductivity, temperature. So you can download that data as well. And again, you can, for each parameter, you can download the entire period of record or the last 5 days of data to the current time in JSON. Again, you can download the graphs of the data, a weekly graph, yearly graph, and then you can also favorite stations. So if there's certain stations that you continually look at, you can favorite those stations as well. And then you can just pull up your favorite stations and it'll display the stations. Other areas that might be useful to find that water basin or that to direct you to the water basins page. I gave you the address, but also to direct you to this is the old River Basins page that has the address to the new basin site. This page will be decommissioned this year, but this one also has the link to download the app for your phone. So you'll get that same functionality from the website on the app, so you can get real-time notifications of high water events or advisories in event situations. So those are some of the water data sets that you might be able to find. Also, there are frequently asked questions that will have some more contacts and directs for the near real-time data. There are frequently asked questions that will have contacts. So if you've got questions for data management or river forecasting, there are links here as well. So if there's any questions, I guess.
Thank you, Shelley. At this time, I'd like anyone in the audience to type any questions or comments they might have, and I'll give you a couple of moments to do that. Maybe while that's happening, Shelley, I'm curious about your thoughts on how this information and how quick you can get this information has really changed how water is being managed in Alberta.
Well, we can, seeing that the information is readily available on your phone, you can see it's useful for a lot of, it can be useful in event situations. Also, people use this, we've had recreational people use it for, they're going to canoe down a river and they want to know the flow of the river, or if there's any high water events. They have this on the app that they can take a look at real time and see the flow of the river, so they can kind of plan their trips or the seasons and see the water level. So that app is readily available. It also gives you notifications for advisories in different areas of the province. So this data going to the website to have it ready to be available is good for several partners in Alberta.
Our first question is about the Old River Basin website. The question is that website going to be shut down?
Yeah, it's planning to be shut down this year. I'm not sure at what point it's going to be shut down, but everything that is on the Old River River website should be on the new Basins page, all that data. And so that link is being there. I'm sorry. So you have that. They're planning for the fall of 2016. I don't know the exact date, but all that information is now on the current Basins website.
Great. The next one is a comment followed by a question. Great presentation, Shelley, and thank you for your time. This question pertains to funding. The process of collecting and disseminating data is very complex. If an additional 5-year funding program were made available, where would you put the money to enhance the system?
That's a good, well, we have some outstanding work that we're looking to bring the data in from our other systems. Right now we have the LoggerNet system that is still a standalone. So now we have 2 systems. We have to use that separate system to bring in the data. As well, there's other groundwater sets that we could probably bring in and make more easily accessible onto web pages. So we could bring in, for instance, the groundwater observation network could also go onto public facing. It's on a page, but it's not as interactive as the new page. Go on a new interactive page to make the data more available. Also have it on a map to make things more available for users. Some thoughts on that is, I think, with the emerging technology to make the data more available.
Great. The next question. Are there any large databases available in open data for GIS and other stats analysis?
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, but there are other data sets in various locations. If you're looking for a GIS layer, we have layers of data that you can get in shaped files. For instance, we've got, and if you wanted some, we have a database, the water well information database, and it has all the water wells that have been drilled and the water well drilling reports associated with that database. We have a baseline water well testing database that brings in all the chemistry data as a requirement of an AER directive for coal bed methane, wells drilled around coal bed methane. So there's other data sets, there's other data sets that are available. And if I can forward some data sets. You can email me, or even the data management. Some of those emails, they can point you to different data sets in the department.
Great. I will put the 2 of you in contact. The next question starts with a comment. Excellent and informative presentation. Are there any plans to make historical data that was not collected in real time available for download from the maps on the Alberta River Basins website?
Now that data is available through our data management website, and they can send you data. We do have URLs that we have created that will download the entire period of record. What specific data were you referring to?
Maybe we'll give, Cynthia, she said, she talked about water quality. She's interested in water quality.
Oh, the water, and so what, the water, we have some water quality data available, the near real-time data as well. The water quality data that for surface water, some of the surface water quality data that is has to come through the lab, manual samples that are sent to the lab for analysis. That data currently is done through data request to our surface water quality folks. And that email was listed as well on the last slide.
Great, thank you. I will distribute those links as well in the follow-up email. The next question, does the new website provide a unique URL for each station? And can you copy and paste them?
That I would have to direct that to our data management folks. We can create specific URLs for each station. Are you looking to, if you're looking to link to that or download that on a routine basis, I think that can be set up. But to have that for each individual station, we do have one that we can give a full period of record for all the stations, but to have it set up so you can directly link to it to get that data linked all the time. You can pose that question to our data management folks. They'd probably answer it a lot better than I will.
Great.
That is.
Yeah, fantastic. The majority of attendees we have today are within the province of Alberta, but we do have a couple of people who are outside the province. I'm curious if you see application for information like this in other provinces, and if there's been interest in that.
I don't know for sure. I believe there has been interest in this, in the River Basins app in other provinces. I don't know what they have, and I'm not sure what their interest is. We do have some stations bordering the province that we do bring the data in from that is on the River Basins app, but as far as expansion into other provinces, I am not entirely sure on that.
Great. If there are no other questions, I would like to, on behalf of CWRA and CWRA Alberta branch, like to thank you, Shelley, for your time and your contributions. And thank you, of course, to everybody for attending today. And look for a follow-up email with the PDFs and some links in your inbox in the next day or two. And direct any questions to me, and I will forward them to the appropriate people. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and have a good day.